Yes, thank you, Chairman, and I appreciate the discussion today. And I want to make it clear, I don't care what administration it is, we should always be transparent. So I think that's just the best policy across the board. And with that transparency, again, I'm going to go back to the Fraud Risk Management Board. I am really excited. I know that the SBA had announced in April that they were creating this Fraud Risk Management Board. But again, when it comes to transparency, SBA has not really shared any details with Congress or the public about its impact since it was created. Mm-hmm. Can you maybe just visit with us a little bit, give us an overview of what type of programs the board is looking at? Have there been results from that? Maybe just share information with us on how that board is going.
Well, so the primary responsibility of the board today, obviously, is to handle what amounts to, I think, somewhere north of 60 total audit reports across GAO and OIG, in addition to our annual audit with our auditor, KPMG, that is ordered by the IG. Within that, obviously, is demonstrating to those auditors and first and foremost to ourselves that we've addressed the shortcomings that were highlighted, right? So I mentioned, in PPPP, not making a core accounting system reconcile in real time loan requests, which is not done on planet Earth, so that we can avoid 50,000 duplicates. There are issues with improper payments that have been conflated to fraud, which, as you guys have addressed, small businesses are not necessarily committing fraud. For example, in the COVID EIDL program, the $80 billion number that is often referenced is in large part due to sole proprietors who, in 2020, were required to demonstrate for each $1,000 they were seeking up to $10,000 for the targeted EIDL advance that was originally made available. They needed to demonstrate they had an employee. In order to have employees as a sole proprietor, you have to have a registered EIN. Mm-hmm. So there are a great many sole proprietors that I have no doubt believing have employees, were certified correctly that they deserve $5,000 or $6,000 or whatever, but they did not have a registered EIN on or before, I believe the date is February 15th, 2020, when the pandemic was officially, start date. So the Fraud Review Board is focused on, addressing the most immediate issues. From a standpoint of how we do that, we have to recognize, and this is Administrator Guzman has, I think, shared with you and others, we have to recognize that we have to be timely, we have to be fast, we have to be relevant. And so that means making technology choices that contemplate both that speed and certainty. And so putting tools in the front end before you disperse the money to know your customer, those types of things. And so, across the board, it has begun and is a daily event. There's not a day since I became the Associate Administrator, March 1st of 2021, literally, that I have not spent at least minimally a third, and there were some long days, focused on fraud, waste, and abuse. So it is top of mind.
No, that's good. Now, with all of the lessons that we've taken away that came out of COVID-19 and some that have been identified by the chairman and others through their lines of questioning today, I am so hopeful that we never, ever experience another COVID-19 type event in our history, but it could happen. Mm-hmm. So taking all of these lessons learned, are we able to act on those in the future? Have those suggestions, those solutions been identified? And how can we put those into practice as we move forward?
Yeah, so I too share the sentiment that I'm good for pandemics. I hope I don't have to have another one. I want to take a second to commend the Office of Capital Access, SES civil servants, because they were prescient. They took the resources, the admin dollars that this committee and the appropriators made available for CARES Act programs across PPP, et cetera. And that technology, specifically for fraud, waste, and abuse, as well as call center support, we've talked about communication, We were able to build successively off of the initial portal that was launched in August 10th of 2020 to support ostensibly in the beginning PPP forgiveness. From the private sector, watching that launch August 10th, 2020, I was struck, as many were in the private sector, this works. This is good. And Steve Kucharski and his team in the Office of Capital Access deserve a heck of a lot of credit, because it was that investment, again with the PPP dollars, that led to a better experience for all applicants in the restaurant revitalization, put the agency in a position to facilitate 1,500 really small banks with forgiveness and processing 2 million loans. And it's that foundation that's going right into the natural disaster platform to address the fraud issues that the IG highlighted, the call center issues, and some of the challenges that we see in the individual case files today.
Good. No, I do hope that we continue to build upon that. And just in closing, too, I do want to say a well-deserved thank you to all of the folks at SBA who really had a huge pressing job ahead of them when COVID-19 hit, and they performed admirably, as did, I know, a number of our own local banks and credit unions that really helped push those dollars out to those small businesses that really did need that assistance. So thank you, Mr. Kelley, for coming in front of the committee today, and thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Senator.